All right, welcome to the Week 14 playoff edition of the Big Gun Keeper League.
We are really excited here at Big Gun Keeper League preview show because this is the first edition of the playoffs.
It is.
And I'm so glad that you're back so that Blair Witch Project 2 Part 2 doesn't happen again this
I'll
week.
tell you what, you did a heck of a job last week with your guest star Griffin in the background.
Griffin didn't want to be part of it.
Right. Let's get to the first matchup, and this is our 3-6 matchup. And in it, AzWupInCliQuE is at 8-5, and Capital Punishment is at 7-6. And in this matchup, we have a chance for a huge upset or a huge blowout. The Punishment comes in as a 52-point underdog, and with the recent deactivation of Plaxico Burress, they have fewer bench options. Unlike Plax, it looks like many of the Punishment players are going to be firing blanks this week. Of their 8 position players, only Michael Turner, who faces the Saints, has a favorable matchup. Rivers and Gates face the 8th-ranked Raiders pass defense. His 3-man receiving corps faces an average 7th-ranked pass defense. And while Ricky Williams does face the somewhat questionable Bills, he has only been averaging a little over 10 carries a week and scored only 1 touchdown in the last month. The Clique does have a few questions of their own, as Ryan Grant is losing carries to Brandon Jackson because of a thumb injury, and D'Angelo Williams faces a top 10 Bucs rush defense. Plus, none of their wide receivers are projected to score in double figures. The difference in this matchup, though, is the consolation bracket winner will take first in the 2009 draft, Adrian Peterson. The Vikings are playing the Lions, and Peterson should have a monster day. Capital Punishment's run comes to an end, and the Clique gets back to his ass-whooping ways and advances to the Final Four.
Wow, that's great.
It is.
And the winner of that matchup will take on D-Boys.
That's correct. Take on a powerhouse D-Boys.
D-Boys has proven to be quite a power throughout the season. In our 4-5 matchup, we have the T-Town Keeper versus the Kamikaze Dynasty. That's right, yours truly, Mr. Pirano here. The Keeper, speaking of which, entered this quarterfinal matchup on a bit of a lull. Just 1 week ago, the Keeper had a chance at a bye and now face a Kamikaze Dynasty team that has a set of matchups ripe for a win. The Dynasty is not the hottest team in the league, nor are they the highest scoring, but they do have several matchups that any playoff owner would love. The Cardinals tandem of Warner and Fitzgerald play the Rams, who are about as defensive as my 6-month-old son. I forgot how old it was. Also, the Dynasty has Larry Johnson and Tony Gonzalez facing Denver, who is 28th in total defense. Top all of this off with Joseph Adai, Andre Johnson, and Brandon Marshall, who are all capable of fantasy greatness, and you have a team worthy of trophies. The Keeper will have something to say about all of this. However, they may be a bit muted by their lack of great matchups. Let's start with the running backs. Matt Forte has a decent matchup against the Jags, but Frank Gore plays the 4th-rated rushing defense in the Jets. And Clinton Portis looks like he's not even going to play. I have to admit that I would be disheartened if I were the Keeper, but I'm not the Keeper. That is why I know the Keeper will be excited about Roethlisberger's matchup against the Cowboys and Sammy Morris at the Seahawks. Enough to give the Keeper hope. The Tide is ranked higher than the Gators, but are a 10-point dog in the Dome. The Keeper is also ranked higher, but a dog. For some reason, I can't pick Florida. It could be that I hate Florida. So I'm going with the Keeper in the Just Get It Done game, as the Keeper will advance to the Big Gun semifinals to take on me.
Well, we'll see, and I hope that definitely comes to fruition, both of your predictions, both Alabama and myself. But it should be an interesting weekend, both in the SEC Championship and in my matchup against the Dynasty.
It looks like everybody's moving into the fast lane, if you get what I mean. This week on the playoff edition of the Big Gun Keeper League preview show, we're going to take a look at some teams that you may or may not like to have players from going down your fantasy playoff stretch. First, we're going to kick it over to Brian this week, who has some teams that you may not want to have players from.
Yeah, and these 2 teams, the first one may not be a surprise, the Baltimore Ravens. And although they are playing well in the NFL, their schedule down the stretch is just brutal. First off, they're playing against Washington, against Pittsburgh, and then at Dallas. All 3 of those teams are top 10 in total defense. In addition, with Joe Flacco out there, you just wonder, can he really handle the pressure? I understand not many of you are going to be playing Flacco, but if they get behind, whether it's Ray Rice or Willis McGahee or even LaRon McClain. I just don't foresee them getting a lot of carries now. In Baltimore, that's kind of a no-brainer. Now, the other team, though, the Dallas Cowboys. And I understand you've got to play Tony Romo, you've got to play Jason Witten, you've got to play T.O., but they're playing at Pittsburgh this week. Then they're playing at home against the Giants and then the Ravens. 3 very tough defensive teams. And you know the Cowboys. If Romo takes a couple hits, can he hold up? If T.O. does not get the ball, is he going to explode? Witten's ribs are not healthy. So while those 3 players probably are must-starts in many leagues, if you have a replacement, you may seriously want to think about sitting a couple of those guys, in weeks 14, 15, or 16.
That's right. And Brian, something to think about for you fantasy players out there. Don't forget, Baltimore and Dallas don't experience the greatest of weather right now. None of those teams that they're playing either at home against or on the road against have dome stadiums. You can expect all these teams to be in the playoff hunt. So expect low-scoring, bad weather-ridden games.
That's very good. That's a good point now. Brad, you got a couple good teams for us to possibly have?
I do. First of all, I'd like to start with the New Orleans Saints. Now, the Saints may seem like a no-brainer to you, and to be honest with you, they are a no-brainer. They're the #1 total offense in the league. But two of their last 3 games are in domes. First of all, they play at home against the 22nd ranked total defense in the Atlanta Falcons for Week 14. In Week 15, they do travel to Chicago, which looks like a tough matchup. But Chicago's only the 16th total defense in the league. Not as good as they normally are. The other matchup is a great one, and that's at the Lions, Week 16. Not only is it domed, but the Lions are the 31st ranked total defense in the league. As a Drew Brees owner, I am ecstatic. If I can get to the championship, having Drew Brees playing against the Lions, that will be fabulous. Now, I haven't gotten there yet, but that's a good matchup.
I'll take Hoover High School against the Lions defense.
Wow. I can't say go Bucks, but that's interesting. Now, our next matchup is the New York Jets. The Jets are 11th in total defense. They have plenty of quality fantasy plays in Brett Favre, Thomas Jones, possibly Jericho Cotchery, and Lavernius Coles. Leon Washington coming on strong of late, and a quality tight end pickup in Dustin Keller. Not only that, but they'll be playing at San Francisco in the 23rd ranked total defense of the 49ers. They'll come back home in Week 15 against the 12th ranked Buffalo Bills. Now that's not great, but they will be at home in the Meadowlands. And then their last matchup in Week 16 for the playoffs will be at the 30th ranked total defense in the Seattle Seahawks. Now I just see the Jets having a lot of points in those 3 games. Now, I know that you may not have some of those players, but if you do, look to play them. Don't forget, the Jets also look good defensively against those 3 teams. And I think, what are they ranked again?
4th ranked rush defense right now. Their pass defense can be a little porous at times, but any of those running backs, whether it be Frank Gore, whether it be Marshawn Lynch, or whether it be whoever Seattle's throwing out that week, it's probably not a bad idea, to take the Jets against any of them. They do a very strong run defense.
That's right. Well, very good, very good. That's exactly right. I would look to take the Jets and play them as well. You remember, some of those plays that you make either in kicker or defenses can make the difference between a win and a loss.
Absolutely. Great picks. Guys, we hope you enjoyed the show. Please enjoy your fantasy Thursday, Sunday, and Monday. As always, any questions, please email either of us. We'll see you in Week 15.
Good luck in the fantasy playoffs.